Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to the first of two double unboxings of my own personal purchases from the most recent AliExpress sale. I put my money where my mouth is and I bought 4 of the 5 that I recommended in the second half of that roundup. I described that second half top 5 as the rabbit hole top 5, and yeah, we both know I have been underground for many a long year now. Now, 3 of the 4 watches have already arrived in Sydney. I think they fall naturally into 2 pairs. There's a rather unusual pair with the Star Wheel and the Bullhead GMT. Today, it's 2 watches that I paid relatively modest sums of money for. They were $185 US each. I'll leave links to both in the description of the video. And if I'm right, I bought 2 of the most expensive, luxurious looking watches that you've ever seen for less than $200. But am I right? Let's flip the camera and find out. Alright, let's crack on with it before my voice gives up entirely today. One of the side effects of having a toddler in daycare is he brings home one of 2 things each week. Either a scribble that is supposed to be a piece of art, or a disease. And this week I got a disease. As you can see here, I have 2 rather well packaged. Look at this thing. It is a beast. It's going to take me a while to get into that, I'm sure. These arrived this week, within a week of me placing the order on AliExpress. Gone are the days where you have to wait 4 to 6 weeks for your watches. And let me assure you, there is no video trickery or editing in this. This is a properly live unboxing. I've no idea what is in either of these packages, but I'm going to start with the easy one, because it's easy. And there you go, it's another one of these little black plastic flight cases. I've seen dozens of these. You must have seen dozens of these as well. Sugess Seestern, they're not the only brand to use them. Pretty much all of the kind of $100, $200 stuff on Ali uses these. They're simple, they're effective, and they always ensure that the watch arrives in good shape. Sugess, this is the Sugess then. This is the chronograph with a salmon dial. I'm really looking forward to this one. I really hope it's going to look as impressive in hand as it does in their press shots. And you know what? It does. That dial color is like nothing I've seen before. Warranty card, instruction manual, spring bar removal tool. Slightly disappointingly unbranded Milanese, but hey, can't really complain for the price. But never mind about that, look at this guy. Alright, I know I've only just opened the box on this one, but I can state 2 things with supreme confidence already. The first is, that dial is beautiful. It is nicer than it is in the photos. The second thing is, that strap is appalling. If any of you have purchased a watch from Ali on a black leather strap, chances are you've seen this one before. It's made of toad leather or something. It's disgusting. I think only twice has a watch failed to make it through the entire duration of the unboxing video on its original supplied band, and one of those was a Vostok, say no more. I think we're going to have a third instance of that with this Sugess today. Let's fire up the movement then. This is a SEA-GULL ST1908, which is a modified version of the ST1900 series, the kind of classic column wheel chronograph. I'm sure you have seen these many times before. In SEA-GULL 1963s and in various other microbands, this one has the swan neck regulator, which is always good to see. $185, that's a decent price for one of these with a swan neck, to be honest, especially when you consider there are other factors involved, other features involved in this one today as well. So looking at the layout here, we have a date complication up at the 12 o'clock. We have a small second, permanently ticking small second, because this one doesn't hack, none of the ST19s do, and we have a 30-minute chrono timer there at the 3 o'clock. However, we also have a Moonphase down there at the 6 o'clock. I believe the date complication and the Moonphase are both operated by the pushers opposite the crown side of the case. Alright, let's test out that theory by pressing the buttons. Now, I am using a ballpoint pen. You don't want to use anything too sharp. A pen is actually pretty decent. You don't want to damage the case or the pushers. If I press the top one, there we are. You can see the date complication moving around there. 25 up to 31, and back round I'll leave it set at 5. I did make sure we were at 6 AM, by the way. I don't think these 2 complications are necessarily connected to the 3 central hands, and in that fashion anyway, I'm not going to damage things. And the bottom one should now adjust the Moonphase. There we are, you can see the moon waning and then waxing again. I'll leave it somewhere in the middle. Alright, that works. Let's do dimensions. Now, there are dimensions cited in the listing, but I don't think they're accurate. They claim this one is 40mm in diameter. My calipers say otherwise. They say 41.4. The listing also states a thickness of 13. My calipers say 14.1. The listing states a lug-to-lug of 50. I'll let them off with a 0.4 discrepancy. I measure it at 50.4, so yeah, it's definitely bigger than they claim it to be. Look, here it is next to my 40mm Divers 65, definitely bigger. And again, next to my 40mm Citizen Chronomaster, definitely bigger. Anyway, 20mm between the lugs as supplied on the toed leather band. It weighs 79 grams. That is a rather attractive piece of double domed sapphire crystal covering the dial, 50 meters of water resistance, and as discussed, a SEA-GULL ST1908 in the back. And there it is. I'm not going to linger on the movement for too long today because I'm sure you've all seen these before. I will drop a couple of bits of macro in because it is an attractive movement. One of the big pulls of this style of watch is you get to see a column wheel chrono in action. Blues screws, plenty of rubies. Probably better to be viewed from a distance rather than under super macro. You can see some machining, some scores, and a little bit of grit here and there, but a marvel. 80 years plus old, this movement. It can trace its origins back to the 1940s, and yet here it is, alive and kicking in the 2020s. Case finish, super simple, high polish. You've got those two pushers for the date complication and the Moonphase complication opposite the crown side. Unsigned pushers here, nice and snappy action on those, by the way, for the chronograph, and the star on the crown. Let's have a very quick look at the dial in hands before I get this one on wrist because it is only an unboxing style video today after all. Stunning. Gorgeous, definitely the highlight of the entire experience. Really lovely colour. It looks like aged parchment. It's just a beautiful shade of kind of salmon pinky orange. Plus we have applied numerals. We have applied little cabochons where there are no numerals. Some concentric circles on the 3 sub-registers. The Moonphase is neatly done. It is a lovely, lovely looking dial and handset for well under $200. Definitely not a 40mm diameter watch though. It both looks and feels bigger than that. I have personally had in hand all 3 different versions of the 1963, the 38, the 40 and the 42. 38 is the sweet spot for me. The 40 is manageable. This one noticeably bigger than even that. And that strap is appalling. Let's get rid of it. There you are. That didn't take too long, and it is so much better than on that hideous black number. Maybe a little bit too orange. Maybe I could tone down the dial colours if I wanted to by switching to a brown or something. But there you go. I even managed to swap over the Sugess branded hardware as well. So all is not lost. I may as well have a look at the mesh while I'm here, eh? Yeah, it's okay. It's certainly better than the black toed leather strap, and I'll never complain about getting something for nothing, but again, I've probably got better 20mm Milanese bands in my shoebox as well. So back to the leather it goes. So there we are. That'll do for the Sugess then. Absolutely gorgeous, but not a 40. A 41 point something, and does wear a little bit larger than I was expecting, a little bit larger than I was hoping, frankly, as well. Alright, my powers of deduction tell me that if that was the Sugess, then this is the Agelocer. This is going to require something a bit more serious. This is going to require the Leatherman. Well, actually, it was just some shrink wrap around a large cardboard box. Indeed, this is the Agelocer. Not the best brand name in the world, not the worst brand name in the world. I don't rate it, but then I don't put it alongside Malti, Erdune, Rolls Timmy, or Tandoori, or some of these other things that I just wouldn't wear. This one, clearly I would, because clearly I bought it. But why did I buy it? Well, I'm hoping, again, to have purchased a watch that looks so much nicer than the relatively modest $185 US that I paid for it. Big chunky instruction manual, we won't bother with that. What else have we got here? Something trying to convince us that this man works for Agelocer. See, they've even photoshopped his pen over the top of his lapel there. Very good indeed. What have we got? Warranty card certificate. Yep, alright, I'm convinced. I'm convinced of the quality. Let's open the box. Here we go. Another warranty card, very nice. Polishing cloth, actually that is quite nice. Link remover, that'll do. All important. At the bottom, underneath it all, is the watch. In some ways though, today is not even the front of the watch that I'm most interested in. It's what's in the back of the watch. Anyway, a few stickers for us here. Let's get on with it.
Actually, that was rather a lot of stickers, but we got to the prize in the end, and you know what? That dial is really rather pretty. I said in the top 10 roundup that I reckon there was a whiff of Moser about this. I don't think I was wrong. Yeah, that's actually very nice. Now, I opted for the bracelet. It was the same price as the leather, and I just didn't want to do double-toed. So I'm fully anticipating probably dropping this bracelet at some point for leather, but actually, it's not too bad. We've even got that kind of Patek-style logo there, either side of the butterfly clasp, decent flexibility. The links are actually quite reasonable. All right, let's get this one sized, get it set, and get back to it. Okay, we're back. That didn't take too long. It wasn't too painful, and I did use the supplied tool. I always try and use the supplied tool to check that it is actually fit for purpose. And it is fit for purpose. I only had to remove 2 links from the bracelet though, so if you have a 7 3/4 inch wrist or above, you may be better off buying it on the leather strap or just buying it on the bracelet and putting it on your own leather strap. But my goodness, that dial is really rather attractive. This was labelled as a black watch. It certainly looks darker than this shade of grey on their website. There was a brown one. There was a blue one. Not big fan of blue, and I thought I would probably get more wear out of this kind of grey-black than I would have out of the brown. Very, very nice indeed. Minimalist. I said when I included this one in the top 10, it's not often you find a Chinese watch that employs the less is more attitude rather than the more is more attitude to styling, but this one certainly does. Very nice indeed. And this one runs true to the stated dimensions, those being 40mm in diameter, 11.8mm thick, with a 48.5mm lug tip to lug tip, 20mm between the lugs, as supplied on the bracelet. Size for me, 7-inch wrist. It weighs in at 146 grams. 50 meters of water resistance from a push-pull crown. That is a piece of very nice double dome sapphire crystal. And the movement in the back, well, they claim it's an Agelocer A4610. Does that mean this $185 watch has a genuine in-house movement? Well, if you check the Caliber Corner website, the incredible resource that is Caliber Corner, they suggest that after research it is more likely to be based on a Hangzhou 7200. I don't really think it matters. I think that thing is absolutely lovely to look at. Features a 28,800 beat rate and an 80-hour power reserve as advertised on the dial and on the main plate of the movement itself. This is now the second of these Chinese-made movements after the one in the Borman that I bought last year that looks far, far better in the flesh than it does in the press shots or any of the renders. This is incredible, the level of detailing here, even under macro. I've looked at a couple of watches with the Hangzhou 5000 micro rotor, and they have been fantastic under macro as well. That's why I tend to agree with Caliber Corner's suspicion that this is Hangzhou based and perhaps manufactured by them for Agelocer. Like I said though, I don't care. What I care is that for $185, I got something that looks gorgeous from the front and from the back. So good looking from the front, good looking from the back, and not at all bad looking from the side either. Really nice fine brushing there on that mid case. High polished bezel that extends into the mid case. There's a high polished ring and then another high polished display case back. As you saw the movement through it, yeah, all very nicely done. Crown over here, it's got that little Patek style logo there, embossed on top and reasonably grippy in proportion to the case of the watch. Bracelet, perfectly decent for the money they're charging here. Just push pins holding it all together, but these are all individually machine linked, so we have a kind of 7-link, high polished Jubilee style, butterfly clasp as discussed, logo on either side. No half links though, so you're probably going to be wearing this one loose, and at 150 grams, yeah, that's a sizable watch to be forced to be wearing loose. What a lovely dial and handset, really, really nicely done. Obviously, the first thing you notice is that sunburst effect on the dial. It's a kind of fume effect as well. Brighter in the middle, darker around the outer edges, but it's not overdone. It's really quite subtle. We've got some lovely applied indices. They are arrowheads, high polished but multifaceted at the 12, the 3 and the 9. Simpler batons but still beveled down the middle on all of the other indices, and a very Formex style Grande complication with beveled edges down there at the 6 o'clock. Even the hands are multifaceted. Brushed upper surfaces, high polished edges, skeletonized, no loom on any of this today, and a slender needle second hand. Very, very attractive, although I have to say I could have done without the 80H power being printed under the brand name. And what's going on with that wizard's staff stroke shepherd's crook counterbalance of the second hand? I have never seen that before. Please let me know if you have. Maybe Moser do that with theirs, but yeah, maybe not. Looks fantastic on wrist as well. Clearly the bracelet is a big factor here. It's very shiny. You're either going to be a yay or a nay on the bracelet. Personally, it's a bit too shiny for me. I reckon I'm going to swap this one onto leather at some point. Probably some point quite soon. This soon, there we are, a kind of elephant grey Epson style. Perhaps not perfect, but it'll do for now. I don't think you want to overpower this dial. The dial itself is fairly subtle, both in colour and in texture and in tone. So something, a kind of strap that doesn't detract from that, but rather enhances it. That's the way you want to go. Yeah, that looks lovely. It doesn't look like a sub $200 watch at all. So look at those two then. A mechanical Moonphase chronograph and a beautiful high beat 80-hour three-hander with a Grande complication. $185 each. And they both look as good from the back as they do from the front. So two absolutely gorgeous watches from Chinese brands with Chinese movements, less than $200 a piece. I think I did well. I think these two have provided me with exactly what I was hoping for when I pulled the trigger on them. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the video. If you want to watch some more unscripted AliExpress sticker peeling, click here or here. I'll see you again in the next one.